A really good day to do a little movement that de-stresses. So you often hear about mindfulness, and our mind often goes to meditation as a way to find yourself more in the present moment and less about your worries and your stresses. So I'm liking the idea of offering up movement as an alternative to meditation. Meditation's great, but this will be more of a flow that might serve to help you release a little stress. So it's shockingly cold here in Florida, not really, but it's below 80, so I have a cotton sweater on and it feels nice and cozy. So I'm going to hope to give you a cozy feeling. So if you feel comfortable, let's close down our eyes. So I'd love for you to be seated. It does not have to be on the floor like I am. I am actually going to use these blocks behind me to show you being at a stool when I do one of the exercises that I would otherwise do on the floor. So in a chair, on a stool, in your bed, wherever you are, let's just take a moment, and even if you don't close your eyes, maybe you soften your eyes. And so we soften our eyes and we gain an awareness of our breath. And you're just noticing the quality of inhaling and exhaling. And as you do so, maybe you can feel the air going in and expanding into your lungs. And then as you exhale, you feel the air leaving the lungs and traveling out. And then maybe we can see about doing that just using the nose. Our beautiful, beautiful nose that is made for filtering the air. Just breathing in and out the nose, allowing it to do its job. The wonderful filtering that it can do. Notice how you're sitting. Are you evenly on each sitting bone? Do you need to move a little flesh to see if you can feel those sitting bones? And can you feel any areas of tension, maybe areas where you normally hold tension? Can you move a tiny bit and then maybe release and let go of that tension? Continue to breathe in and out your nose. And then let's change our leg arrangement. So if, like me, you're seated with your legs crossed, just which one's the front leg. Let's stick with my theory right now that your next seated position, the next best seated position, is actually your next position. So as we have relaxed here, let's think a little bit about your ribeyes. So underneath your collarbone, there you can touch along and you'll find a little spot where it feels like something soft in the shape of an eye. And let's call those your ribeyes. So as you're seated here, can you just think for a moment about your ribeyes opening up? So you're not pulling your shoulder blades back, but there's this feeling of a little openness across your collar. Can you draw your chin in, making the back of your neck long, and just enjoy those ribeyes being nice and open? And then can you put your hands on your rib cage? So I've got my thumbs going behind me and I'm holding on to my ribs as if they were a canister. And if your shoulders are a little tight and you can't do that, maybe hold just a little lower. And then what we're going to do is breathing at your own pace, however you choose, hopefully in through the nose and out through the nose. And you turn your rib cage just a little bit. Notice I'm trying to keep my nose right over my sternum, and I'm just seeing about moving only from my rib cage. So this is super gentle. I'm not torquing or twisting anything. I'm noticing each direction that I go, how much movement I have. Do I feel my hips or my knees wanting to move with me in one direction and not in the other. Interesting to note. Good. The upper spine and the rib cage are meant to rotate. This rotation is not huge, and it's gentle, and it's nourishing, bringing more circulation to an area that can get pretty tight if we sit and use devices a lot. Good, and now let's do shoulder circles and just do regular old kind of fast circles that you would do even at the beginning of a gym class. Something really unregulated and just whatever. Good, have fun with it, play with it, be silly with it. And then take a nice breath, even a sigh. And now let's come back to circles, but let's put our mind's eye in the shoulder blades. So my hands are going to stay here, but I'm not going to think about my shoulders. I'm going to think about the shoulder blades on the back of my body. So they're going up and wide and down, and then they're coming in. So I don't know how much difference you see on the outside, but on the inside, there's a whole lot of difference. So I am making a circle with each shoulder blade, but it's kind of like this. And now I'll reverse it. Down the middle, out wide, up, in the middle, down, out wide, up, in towards the middle, and down. And finishing out those circles. Yeah, really nice. Woo. And then let's just think a little bit about how our shoulder blades just moved for us and how they went wide when we wanted them to and narrow when we wanted them to, and that control that we had. Great. So now we'll go to an area where it's sometimes a little harder to have control. We're going to do 90-90 legs. 90-90 legs are quite popular these days. The thing that I'm going to show you, first on the ground and then I'll show you in the chair, technically the objective would be to get 2 90-degree angles. But for a lot of people, the hips are too tight and this is uncomfortable and I wouldn't recommend it. So you'll do what you can do. It'll still be valid. We can play with this in any way you want. Your heel can be closer to your groin. This heel can be closer to your bum. They don't have to be at 90 angle here. You can have whatever arrangement works for you. And by that same token, if you're up in a chair, and let's just pretend that my blocks here are a chair or a stool, you can still do the same thing. You can be like so, and like so. So any way you look at it, you should be able to do this. And all that we're going to do, I'll start the first part here. We're just going to find what seems like a nice 90-90 arrangement, and hopefully I'm up on top of my sitting bones and I'm going to breathe. Notice my rib cage over my pelvis, and if I'm on the ground, it looks like this. You can have your hands here to help you try to find both sitting bones. It's not always possible. If this feels uncomfortable, but you really don't want to be seated up, try it here. So this is a nice relaxed 90-90 and totally accessible. Maybe we'll do it right here because this looks a little bit more like the chair. So this will work. And my ribs are in my body and we're just breathing and we're feeling the 90-90. And maybe a little stretch right here, maybe for you. Good. And then we'll do the other side. So on chair, you'll do the same thing that I just did. It's really nice to allow for your neutral spine to be going at this angle. So my shoulders are still stacked over my hips. I'm just coming out at a different angle. And I breathe, ribs in the body, feeling a nice stretch. And now we're going to play with this movement. And in order to play with it, I'm actually thinking, yeah. Okay, so now we're going to move. And we're just going to move our 90-90 like so. So we're just rocking back and forth. Notice that you've got the pelvis moving and the legs moving. It's a little harder on the stool. You kind of have to use your hands a lot to help you stay in one place on the stool. Good. And now let's refine that down and think about my pelvis being kind of steady, and I'm going to move this femur, this leg, in that hip socket, and then this one. Now I did rock my pelvis a teeny bit, you saw that. 1 and 2. Noticing that it's tighter on one leg to go into internal rotation than the other, and that's okay. Just finding and noticing, so I'm moving them separately. The first one goes, and then the second one goes. Let's bring our mind's eye right into the head of this leg bone, and it's a round sphere. Let's just imagine that round sphere in both sockets just turning. So we're cleaning it out. We're doing some deep cleaning. This really good movement. And sometimes you start inching forward, which I'm doing a little bit of. Good. And then we're going to hinge. Now you can do it here, or you can do it in your chair or stool. So I've got my 90-90 legs and I'm facing my front leg. I can do the same thing seated, I'll show you. And we are just taking a hinge. So imagining that pole that we often talk about is on your back, and I'm just taking a hinge. My bum is turning up a little bit towards that back wall, but I'm only going as far as I can go, keeping my chin in and staying in a neutral spine, and then I come back up. And everybody's gonna feel that somewhere else. I felt it in the back of my calf. I don't really want my left bottom cheek to come high off the floor. It would like to, and then I'd be twisting my pelvis. So I'm actually thinking about driving that left bum cheek towards the ground. And that may stop me from hinging as far as would look pretty, but it's actually giving me more of a pure hinge, and that's what I want. So then we'll try the other side. And for the other side, I'll do it up on my fake little chair here. So the other side is here. Yeah, and I can't, my wall's a little bit in my way, but this, right there, that works. Okay, so same thing. I'm going to hinge over. It's a little bit easier here to keep both bum cheeks down, so that's the advantage. And look at that, I got my head, I was trying to look at you all as if you were there right now. Oh, and somebody is. But let me keep my body in the way it's supposed to be. So I'm getting a little less of a stretch, but there's more ease, and maybe I'm looking for some ease right now. And ease in stressful times. Good, and then you come back. Let's go back to our shoulder blade circles, and whether you're seated on the floor or a stool, however your legs are arranged, I think I'm actually love changing up my leg position. I'm going to put my legs like so. Let's make a little hand clasp with our hands, and we're going to do the same shoulder blade circles. We're just holding hands now. So my shoulder blades are wide and they're high, and I'm going to go down and then squeeze them in, then bring them up. Go wide and high and down, and squeeze them in and go up, wide and high and down, squeeze them in and go up, and now I'm going to go right back down the middle. Wide and then high, squeeze in, down, wide, then high, squeeze in. I don't know about you, but that felt a whole lot easier this time. So then just stop for a moment, breathe, let go of your hands, close your eyes, feel your rib cage, the back of your neck. Is that tension still hanging around? Well, I'm going to move and we'll find out a little bit more. We're going to come down to the ground. So with me. Let's go down to the ground, and I will have something for my head in a moment. We're going to go down to the ground, the osteoporosis safe way, and we're just going to take a moment to have a little fun. Fun and play is all a part of de-stressing. And I'm just going to shake my body using my feet to push me. So I'm just going to enjoy this little bit of movement. It's nothing jarring that's going to hurt my spine. Now you, of course, know your own spine, and if you don't feel safe doing this, please don't, because this class is all about feeling safe. Just some little jiggles and wiggles. And then letting go. And then we're going to play with pelvis movement, and we're just going to tuck and untuck. And what I want you to think about is, can you do it? We were pushing in with our feet. Can we now do it without pressing with our feet? Can we do it gently, just using muscles right around our bum? Can we not use our low back? Can we really make it small? Mine just got smaller. Caught myself with my low back wanting to help. So I'm just tucking and untucking. Yep. Good. And then I'm going to let my right leg stretch along the ground. I'm going to put my little pillow under my head. I'm going to find my way into what feels like a neutral spine. I'm not stressing about it too much. And I'm going to reach my left arm long and my right arm long, reaching away from each other, keeping my pelvis in neutral and bringing it back in. And then the opposite, the left arm, or the left leg and the right arm, reaching away, really reaching that heel so strongly that the heel is off the ground, and come back. And now I'm just going to take a moment to drill my nose. So that has me using my deep neck flexors a little bit. Back of my neck is long. I'm going to think about where t-shirt seams would be on my arms. That allows my ribeyes to open up. And then once again, I lengthen my right leg and I just push that heel into the ground and feel the reaction that my whole body has. It's sort of like a spine reset. And then I'll switch to the other side, pushing the left heel into the ground, drilling my nose still. T-shirt seam on the ground, my ribs don't flare. Feeling your bum. Good. And again, reaching and pressing. And reaching and pressing. And now that we've done that, we're just going to give the right leg one chance to reach so much that it starts to lift, but I'm using my exhale and my pelvis hasn't moved at all. I only come as high as my knee and I come back down. And I do that 2 more times, noticing that my pelvis is staying nice and steady. And 1 more time. And I even feel the little bit of work happening in there. And now I reach the left leg, reach, and then I lift. My pelvis is staying steady. I'm using my exhale to help me keep my core engaged. I'm not pressing down hard with my right foot. It's all my exhale and my reflexive core holding my pelvis in place. Great. And I come back in. And I see that I left my strap all the way over here. So I'm going to roll to the side and grab my strap and come back. And you have to be careful when you do things like that. We're just going to have a little fun with the strap. So my left leg is with the foot on the ground, making it really easy on my back. And it doesn't really matter whether your right knee is straight or not. We're thinking about lengthening the leg. If you can straighten it, great. If you can't, no big deal. Everybody's got a different amount of tension in their legs. And I am flexing my heel, bringing my nose back towards my face. And I'm just going to let the leg and my pelvis rock. And you can see what I'm doing here. I'm playing with it and noticing that my pelvis and my legs seem to be together, rocking together. And now I'm going to find my pelvis in what feels like neutral and just move my leg and not move my pelvis. So now my leg is moving independent of my pelvis, which is a good thing for it to know how to do. And I'm not really using the strap very much, but I am pressing into it to help me feel the lengthening. Now we're just going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to cross over the midline, but we obviously don't go super far because my leg is kind of in the way. So I'm going to take my knee a little further away, cross over the midline. I'm going to press through my heel, pressing the toe pad of my foot into the strap so much that with my finger right here under my bum cheek, I actually lift off my bum cheek and then I reach my bum cheek back to my finger. Push away, 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 and reach back. So it's like you're plugging back in when you reach your bum cheek back in. Push away and reach back. Push away and reach back. And one more, push away and reach back. And then I'm going to open my leg, but I'm not going to hold my leg with this strap. I literally could let go. Because what I want to do, but I want you to have it as sort of like an emergency brake. I'm keeping my left pelvis on the ground, so I'm only opening my leg as much as I can do without my pelvis twisting. And then using my exhale and my breath and my core to bring my leg back. So this is really graceful and gentle. Remember, your knee doesn't have to be straight. And I'm feeling all of my muscles really working. We've been so gentle, but really active and alive. And coming down and just letting that leg fall to the floor. Comparing sides, I feel like my right leg is melted into the floor. Let's do the other side. So, same thing. Let's just play with how the pelvis and the leg can be connected, and then how we can quiet down the pelvis and just move the leg. And there's only so far that I can go, and then my pelvis wants to come with me. So I'm just moving it, not using the strap very much. Good. I lengthen that foot away a little further so I can cross over comfortably. And now it's the same thing. I'm going to reach my heel and the pad of my toe with the strap away so my bum cheek comes off of my finger a little bit, and then I plug back in to my finger. And I reach my bum cheek away and I plug it back in. Reach, 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 and plug back in. Reach, and hopefully your belly isn't poofing out when you do it. You're not straining. Reach and plug back in. And one last one. Reach and plug back in. And now we go out to the side only as far, well, I've got a wall, only as far as you can go under your own steam. So we don't want to have to use the strap to come back. And I really need my exhale to come back. That's some core work for me, using my low abs to get that leg back. And isn't it wonderful that sometimes working a leg allows it to feel so much better in the end, that it can connect to the floor a little more easily. And I'm just going to take my legs up here and do a 90-90 movement. So we'll end with the legs doing that same wave of the 90-90 movement where one leg goes and then the other leg goes. And one leg and then the other. And we're just noticing the quality of our movement. having given our legs a lot of opportunities to feel nourished and for our hips to feel a lot of different movements. And hopefully you've had to pay enough attention to my instructions that you weren't thinking about anything else. And then if you would like, you can take a block. I'm going to remove my head padding, push through my heels and bring my bum up on a block. For some people, the block sometimes feels a little hard on their sacrum, that triangular bone in the back. You don't want it in your low back, you want it on your sacrum. And then you look to just have almost like a waterfall, sloosh, all the muscles floating towards the ground. It's like I've got a little slide here. And today I am not going to do anything. I generally don't like to lengthen my legs. I think it tugs on my low back. So for me, I'm just going to allow the iliacus, which is one of the hip flexor muscles, living in the pelvic bowl, to just, I'm envisioning it. It can't come out, obviously, but I'm envisioning it just melting out and down towards my belly button and towards the floor. And I'll turn up my palms and I'll open my ribeyes and put my t-shirt seam on the ground. And come back to breathing in and out the nose. Notice that you might have been squeezing your bum cheeks and they can let go now. And you can smile. And stay here as long as you'd like and enjoy the rest of your day.